Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.
Hello, my friends. It is Wednesday, the 19th of November, 2025, which of course means it is time for episode 73 of Mullinger's Weekly Ramble. It is exactly 6:04 a.m. That's right. I am back to... Isn't it absolutely ludicrous that I am a self-employed, not to mention a stand-up comedian who has managed to make themselves so busy that the only time they can actually record a podcast is at 6 o'clock in the morning. And as many of you know, because you've been messaging me, we have just taken a 2-week break from the podcast, and I do apologize for this. I know I say this every time, but it has literally been 2 of the busiest weeks of my entire life. I'm not going to bore you with everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks because it will probably take up a 4-hour episode. But essentially, I have been all across the province. I did keynotes for NBCC in St. John, Fredericton, Miramichi and Moncton. I also had 3 other gigs, including at the Algonquin, something wonderful for RBC. I helped my wife organise the annual Rothesay Yule Christmas market fundraiser for the Central Regional Hospital Foundation. 1,300 people came and had a wonderful, joy-filled Christmassy day. I have also finished my second book. You will all be relieved to hear. The deal also got signed. There's a million other things. And then, of course, you factor in children, life, hockey. It's been mad. Anyway, so I'll go through some of that in a minute. But I've got very, very exciting news, which I think I should start with. This podcast, and by that I mean we have an extremely special new sponsor. It's a sponsor I think that you all know and love, and is a company that is very close to my heart. Let's just say one of New Brunswick's finest ever companies, and indeed one of Canada's finest ever companies, just changed my life with caramel. That's right. This podcast is supported by one of my favourite New Brunswick companies, Ganong. Canadians are loyal when it comes to anything Canadian, and rightly so. Ganong have been crafting chocolates here since 1873, and their new sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters are outstanding. I don't know why I'm reading that. I mean, I wrote this, so I'm reading it, but the bottom line is that I've been devouring them for weeks, and they're absolutely, truly phenomenal. They're available everywhere. Beautiful bags, perfect for sharing, perfect for, obviously amazing for Christmas, but just gorgeous for sitting by the hockey rink. Anyway, I'll go back to the script. And it's I have been handing them out all over at my son's hockey games and watching people's faces light up. So if you want a treat that supports local and tastes unbelievable, pick up a bag today. But more on that later. In addition to all the things I listed earlier, I also appeared on a podcast yesterday called Different Brains. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's an American podcast that is huge globally. It's essentially it's done by a non-profit organization that supports, educates, and celebrates neurodivergent individuals by fostering understanding and building a more inclusive world. It was actually born out of a father's personal journey to understand his child's diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome. It was founded by Dr. Harold Hackey Reitman, who is a hero and a god in the neurodivergent world. Tragically, he has passed, and my dear friend, Fredericton's own Sean Smith, is now hosting the Different Brains podcast. I first met Sean at a show in Fredericton about 10 years ago, and about 5 or more years ago, he wrote an article for the Maritime Minute magazine about his late-in-life ADHD diagnosis, which I think must have been one of the, reading that, editing that, working with him on that, it must have been one of the, for me, the early signs that I needed to get tested myself. Anyway, we had a truly uplifting and enlightening conversation yesterday for about an hour, so that will be on the Different Brains podcast very soon, and I will share the link with you all. It was interesting. So basically about, in classic ADHD fashion, knowing that I had that podcast coming up forced me to do that thing that us ADHDers do, where we leave something that we need to do till the last second, and then we have to kind of rush do it to get it done. So I had all the chapters for my book, which, as many of you know, is called Attention Please, and it is about late in life ADHD diagnosis and what I went through for the first kind of 4 decades of my life, not knowing why I was the way I was. But basically, having that podcast forced me to finally get the chapters in order. Right now, I'm sitting in my study / loft / office. Like I said, I probably shouldn't be shouting this loud. My wife is out at boxing. She is out. Quick, just hats off to my superhero wife, who, as I mentioned, organised the Rothesay Yule Christmas market on Sunday. It was a record-breaking attendance of over 1,300 people. I believe, I know the final count hasn't been done, but I think I'm safe and confident to say that it is a record-breaking amount for these events to go to the Hospital Foundation. Last year, we raised over $20,000 to help support nurses, and this year it is going to be more. And it is so much work. I can't even tell you how much. I mean, again, she's starting work on next year's one now. And of course, in the weeks building up to the event, it's pretty much 24/7, which I don't need to tell you guys, but that is a huge straight. Like, life's hard enough. Life's also hard enough when you do run your own business. So if you're not working, you're not earning. And when you are, and again, she wants to do this, she loves to do it, but I have to say it is off the charts. She's my hero. You all know that. She's my best friend, and I just seeing her work tirelessly to do a good thing for the community and for a hospital just makes me so proud. Anyway, how did again sidetrack. So I finally got she's at the gym. She's at boxing this morning. Goes out, as many of you know, at 5 o'clock every morning, either for a walk or to the gym, or to boxing. And which is amazing. Again, 51 years old as well. And any of you that know my wife, Kyla's listening. Kyla, I'm so sorry for the 2-week break. I miss you. I love you. Kyla, many of you know, is our beloved listener in Blackheath in London, originally from New Brunswick, world-class opera singer, one of my... we're not just best friends, we are family, Kyla. And I've been actually one evening that Pam and I did get to sit together in the last week. We sat and watched a video that some of you may have seen. I posted on Facebook. I was gifted a VHS copy of the class of 1992 production of St. John High's Grease, which Kyla appears in. My wife Pam appears in. We sat and watched it. It was so amazing. If anyone is listening and it was in the class of 91, I do also have a VHS of Kiss Me Kate, and I did get both converted to digital, so I have them and I can share the file with you. I will quickly give a quick shout out plug to an amazing company who, after my Fredericton gig in my NBC gig for Fredericton at the Delta, I drove to the house of Master Copycats. Master Copycats are an organisation you may have seen advertising on social media who convert anything, any format to digital. So, as you know, I've got multiple VHS players. I love sitting around watching VHS, but it's not always overly convenient. And also, sometimes you want to share things on the YouTubes or you want to edit it up or whatever else. Anyway, point being, I'm starting to get all my VHS videos, not all of them, I've got thousands, but some of my VHS videos converted. So the St. John High, Dennis Knibb, the great Dennis Knibb, is actually in it. I wish I'd actually had this and watched this before my St. John High show this year. It's such an amazing, the inspiring people that have appeared on that stage over the years. And again, one thing I loved about the production of Grease is seeing lots of people, obviously, that I know and love, and lots of other people that I didn't know were at high school with my wife and Kyla. Anyway, where was I going with this? Can't remember. Oh, so the point of this episode is, so this week's episode is going to be focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is joy. The messages I've received from lovely all of you over the past couple of weeks. Oh, and speaking of joy, you may have seen I posted on social Nancy Regan's second season of Nancy Regan's new TV show. Of course, you all know Nancy Regan, television icon, CTV legend. She is back on TV in a truly inspirational show by the name of Showing Up with Nancy Regan. Many of you know that her book, her memoir, was called Showing Up, Not Showing Off. And is essentially about people who in life show up, but rather than show off. And the TV show is essentially her going around meeting Atlantic Canadians that she likes and admires. Anyway, I was truly honored to be a guest on the show. The episode's actually just aired in the past couple of weeks. At some point, it will be added to YouTube, but I believe right now they wait for the whole season to roll out on Eastlink. Stunning production, like off the charts, incredible. Proper budget, like the crew, the director, everyone involved are all truly like some of the best filmmakers in the country. They're the people that were behind the I Am Canadian ad, people that have been behind behind the camera on Trailer Park Boys, on the Trailer Park Boys movies. So, and it really shows. It is a stunning looking production. Even if you find me annoying, just turn down the volume and look at the beautiful drone shots of Rothesay. They captured, and essentially what they did is they came to my house, we did an interview, and then they came to watch me test new material at Long Bay Brewery. During the show, that was actually Nancy's birthday. I challenged her to do stand-up the following week. So the following week, they then came and joined me in Windsor, Nova Scotia at the Mermaid Theatre, where Nancy tried stand-up for the first time. Incredible experience. The episodes have turned out majestically. I'll be sharing posts. I'll be sharing clips over coming days. Anyway, Joy. Lots of you messaged me saying, I'm going to have a drink. It's too early. I should have had a coffee before starting. Okay. Before I go in, before I go into this, this is the Joy. And there's a number of things that made me realise that I needed to do an episode on Joy, and that is, I had numerous messages from a few of you over the last couple of weeks saying that this podcast makes you happy. You like listening to it, and when it doesn't arrive that week, it's a disappointment. So that made me both proud and happy, but also sad that I had failed to deliver an episode for the past couple of weeks. So I decided I'm going to focus this episode on Joy. The world right now is full of so much misery and nastiness and horribleness, and we all know where that seeps down from. It seeps down from the most powerful people in the world. It is truly depressing, and I have and I love that my job is taking people out of that on stage. I love in the past week I've done 3 shows in different parts of the province where I'm going in, again, usual drill, arrive nervous, blah, 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 go on stage. Amazingly, last week it was 3 out of 3 in terms of barnstorming gigs. Just an hour, I guess it was trying to finish the book, made me feel somewhat philosophical about the whole kind of role of comedy and the role of all of us needing is like when I go on stage, I need the escape from my brain. I need the escape from my ADHD brain that's flooded with all these thoughts all of the time. And then, of course, after the gigs, I have this kind of flood of happiness and dopamine, which, as you know, for an ADHD is what makes us feel normal. So then, for the 24 hours after the gig, I feel normal. Anyway, I started thinking about Joy, and then in all of these busy, even on Sunday at the Rothesay Yule, where we've worked tirelessly to create an event for families, for the community, to raise money for a charity. There's people arriving, complaining about things, or just being mean. People being mean online. Just people generally in life being negative towards you and bringing you down. I know from the letters I received from all of you that you all experience this as well on a day-to-day basis. We all experience, whether it be people that we know bringing us down, people bringing like darkness to our doorstep, or people, or just the world at large, and you see something online. Anyway, I decided to focus today on Joy. I hope that today, the day that you're listening to this podcast, I hope today is, and it could be, the best day of your life. And I am going to discuss right now the best days of people's lives, because I have done a survey online where you have shared some of your experiences with me. So I'm going to very quickly, and you know what else goes with Joy? And this is not why I did this, but what goes perfectly with Joy, community, and Canadian fierceness, you guessed it, Ganong chocolate. So we're going to do one more ad read, and I'm going to go into the joy segment of the show, which could become a regular thing. If you all enjoy this, let me know. Come on, all you lovely listeners, Kyla, Julie, Heidi, Caitlin, whoever's listening. If you are, anyway, okay, we go. When the holidays arrive, I look for two things: something delicious and something easy to bring to a gathering. Ganong, our beloved New Brunswick chocolate makers, have launched two new treats: sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters. These things disappear faster than tickets to a brewery show in Rothesay. See what I did there? Ganong have been making Canada sweeter since 1873. Grab these new bags and be the hero of your next party. I'm looking at the bag of caramel clusters right now. I have been devouring them. They are truly the perfect size. I don't know about you. You all know that I'm a complete chocoholic, chocolate addict, and huge lover and admirer of Ganong and everything they do for this community and also this country. Again, as we've said many, many times before, everyone has to practice what they preach, buying Canadian products. But the amazing thing is, of course, that with Ganong, it's very easy because it is legitimately a world, because they are the best chocolates in the world. So, my brother, I know you're listening. My brother is out in BC. I'm going to BC next week to do 5 shows in, where is it? Lake Country, Summerland. What a great name that is. I mean, they're not as great as the town next to it, Peachland. So I'm going to BC next week. Lake Country, Summerland, Oliver, BC. If anyone knows anyone in Oliver, BC, ticket sales at the Venables Theatre, not flying off the shelf. So tickets don't sit on shelves, magazines sit on shelves. Oh, we sent the magazine to print as well. Can you believe I forgot that from all that list of things that I'm talking about? I forgot that we sent the magazine. That was a mad one. Sending the magazine to print, volume 35. It's the first health and wellness issue. Amazing cover. I'll go through the mag when I have it in a couple of weeks. We sent that to print the same week I had the 4 gigs across the province for NBCC, which incidentally, NBCC, genuinely 4 of the most inspiring days of my life. A big part of my keynote is talking about writing letters and how writing letters to my heroes as a child changed my life and improved everything, and how anything I've done in my life has stemmed from writing physical letters to people, and how in an age of digital, in an age of likes, in an age of people sliding into people's DMs, how writing a letter is the way to stand out. You want to work with someone, you want to pitch to someone, sending them an email, fine. But a physical, tangible letter that lands on their desk, far more likely to get read, far more likely to get a response. So this is a core part of my workshop and keynote. And again, I mean, I'm happy. I'll share some stories with you another time. But essentially, all of the paths that I followed, or what stemmed from advice that I got from people like Kate Winslet, who I started a long-term pen pal relationship with. I still have all the letters. It forms a big part of the next book. But what blew me away was as part of the workshop for these NBCC shows, I tasked the students to write a letter to someone they admire. Nothing could have prepared me for how incredibly emotional that would be. Heroic. I won't name names, but if you are listening and you don't mind me either reading your letter or reading your name, please, you want to talk about joy. Listening to students read letters to their grandmothers, or in many cases their instructors, their tutors, their lecturers at the college, like just so many. Basically, I cried at every single one. Empowered, uplifted. The students were just off the charts, incredible. And anyway, I went off on a sidetrack. Those. Anyway, if anyone is listening who I could, and some of you even kindly gave me letters, handwritten letters. If any of you are comfortable with me reading out your letters, please do let me know. So on to the joy segment. What was the best day of? Oh, that's a nice text. If you all heard the amazing story about Vanessa King, who is a filmmaker originally from St. Andrews, who worked in Hollywood and New York for decades and just recently moved home to Hampton, New Brunswick, and is literally making like off the charts incredible television shows right here, with all kinds of top tier New Brunswick talent. My friend Megan is involved. Anyway, I just received a lovely text from her. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. So here's what we're doing. We are... I can't remember if I've got like 10 pages of notes of things to go through. And the other thing that I've got today, so yeah, the magazine, that was the point, that I did all those lectures, and on the same week we were sending the magazine to print. We managed to send it to print on time. Anyway, it's great. So if I say so myself. But then today, this afternoon, I'm actually appearing on my friend Paul Field's podcast. Do any of you know the podcast We Buy Records? It is one of the, I believe, most listened to vinyl collecting podcasts out there. It's dedicated to vinyl collecting, but also to selling, and it basically covers everything from cleaning tips to city buying reports to vinyl stupidity. Like, for example, I read an article in The Guardian last week about how how Taylor Swift will release her albums on like multiple formats. So it's like here's 10 different versions of the same album on different coloured sleeves, vinyls, so that hardcore fans have to buy all of them. And then she also strategically re-released stuff on dates that her rivals have things coming out to keep them off the number one spot. There was an interesting article in The Guardian how she's been, uncharacteristically quiet about the Trump situation, and how really in many, because I believe Trump used one of her songs, something like that. Anyway, how her breed of capitalism actually is in some ways a very Republican. Anyway, separate conversation. But my friend Paul Field is one of my best friends in the world. He owns a record shop in Serbia. A British guy from Hastings moved to Serbia, specializing in electronic and dance music. He is one of my dear friends who I met in Blackpool last year to go and see the 80-year-old comedian Roy Chubby Brown on the Blackpool Pier. His co-host is Tim, who runs a record shop in East Sussex in England, East Sussex. It's one of my favourite podcasts. I'm appearing on it today due to the fact that, again, another thing that's been going on is I'm releasing my next album on vinyl. I'm releasing an album. It's recordings of two CBC special tapings that I did for CBC Radio, extended stand-up sets. The album has been produced by the amazing Paul Milner, who, as many of you know, runs Trillium Studio. He's produced albums for Keith Richards, you name it. That album is out in a couple of weeks, and we're talking about that and record collecting. And he's tasked me with choosing my favourite vinyl albums, which is so hard to do because, well, also my favourite vinyl albums legitimately are Grease 2, The Perfect Soundtrack. That's the John Travolta, Jamie Lee Curtis 1985 movie Perfect, directed by James Bridges and starring Jan Wenner as himself as the editor of Rolling Stone. Recently we watched it, still stands up today despite having an 8% 8% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, this is far too many tangents. We need to get back to the subject of joy, but I'm feeling the joy. I mean, I'm pretty bloody excited for someone that is sitting at his desk at 6:30 in the morning. I think I've really missed you. You know where I went yesterday? I went to Bates Barn. Do you all know Bates Barn? It is near the ferry that goes to the Belle Isle, Kings County. For years, I would say, and Bates Barn, many of you will know, tragically burned down 8 years ago, and the amazing family, Janice and her family, actually rebuilt it. The original Bates Barn is actually one of the very first barns in all of New Brunswick. There's this incredible historic legacy. It's a wedding venue and other events venues. Dave Gunning's performed there. Great Big Sea have performed there. Absolutely gorgeous. For about 10 years, they've been saying to me, would you do a show here? And I'm like, I'll try. I'll try and get out there, have a look, blah, blah, blah. It takes time. God bless them, and thank you, Janice, for persevering, because they never didn't stop writing. And even after it burned down, it rebuilt, got back in touch. As you know, I am always looking forward to go back to the theme of joy, joyful experiences. What venues can I play that will give the audience the best possible experience? And this barn looks so absolutely gorgeous that I believe my Kings County shows next year will be taking place at the stunning Bates Barn. Went there yesterday. Again, been meaning to go there, and I just knew that after sending the magazine to print, after a run of like 5-6 gigs in the space of 2 weeks, sending a magazine to print, doing the Rothesay Yule, I picked that date. I thought, and I love those excursions. I love finally actually getting out of the house to go on an excursion, because otherwise I don't really, unless I'm on the road doing gigs, I'm sat at this desk working, writing, typing, toiling, pitching, begging, pleading, conceiving, producing, editing. I'm at this desk, or I'm at the YMCA, or I'm at Rothesay Athletics, but I'm basically... So anyway, went out, met with Janice and her son, off the charts phenomenal. I will be doing a show at Bates Barn next year. Watch this space. Would any of you... Oh, speaking of shows, we just announced I am doing another run of unplanned, off-the-cuff, improvised shows at the BMO Theatre in St. John, the St. John Theatre Company. I'm basically, in January, my first shows will be those 3 shows where you pick the subjects, I improvise on the spot, what could possibly go wrong, putting my career on the line, putting my reputation on the line. Reputation? What reputation, James? You're a complete madman. Where the heck am I? Joy. So, it's important to celebrate the joyful things in life. It's important to, and I'm getting better at not allowing my thoughts to take me to dark places, which they often invariably do. It's why I get up so early to record this podcast. When I wake up, there's this, my brain's going in a million directions. So I posted the question as a survey just for you guys. And by the way, I should point out on this of Joy, Nancy Regan show, even though you can't watch season 2 yet, season 1 is on YouTube. I posted the link on my Facebook page. Please do check it out. She basically just meets, other than me, the other people, they're all very, very inspiring, brilliant people. So I asked the question for the podcast: what was the best day of your life? Now, I haven't even, because I like to do this on the spot, I haven't even stopped to think what was the best day of my life. You can choose certain days of, like, I can easily pick best day of my career. I can pick best decision I ever made, obviously, moving here, which would make the 14th of February 2014 one of the most important days. I mean, obviously, the 2 best days of my life, I guess, would be the birth of my children. So I asked you this question. So in the interest of celebrating joy, if you've got a bag of delicious Ganong chocolates right there, crack open the bag, put a caramel cluster in your mouth, start sucking on the chocolate, obviously. This is my point. So that Paul, We Buy Records, I've got to pick the albums that I love, and I've got to pick my favorite, the album that I desperately want. It would have to be a toss-up between the Velvet Underground, the original with the banana that peeled off. I know they've reissued it with the banana that peels, but the original, because that was like a holy grail album when I was growing up. Also, the original Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction cover that was banned, because I actually owned it for many years and sold it in my teens, probably to buy strong cider. Other favourite albums of mine, like Frank Zappa's Ship Arriving Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch, it would have to be my favourite ever album cover. Anyway, I shouldn't spoil all of this. And the band that I'm a completist on, that I have like all the vinyls, all the singles, all the cassette tapes, and all the VHS tapes and the DVDs, would be Poison. But then also, I mean, again, I've got Rage Against the Machine, Public Enemy, a House of Pains album with Shamrocks and Shenanigans on it. Anyway, I should save this for the podcast. The point is that by this afternoon I need to pick on my things. So here we go. One of the best days of your life. Mark Black, the inspirational and heroic Mark Black, who incidentally, it is not a plug, but has an article in the health and wellness issue of the Maritime Edit about resilience. Mark Black, when his answer for the happiest day of his life, wedding day. Oh yeah, I should have picked wedding day, shouldn't I? Wedding day, births of our kids, day of my transplant. Mark had a life-saving transplant against all odds. You can read that story he was not given a huge amount of time to live, and is still not only fighting fit today, but traveling the world, speaking and inspiring people. So tough to rank them. I think, I mean, that's a fair list. Mark's list: wedding day, birth of your kids, day of your transplant. Tough to rank them. You can have more than one. Hopefully we all have more than one best days of our lives. Brenda Hector says her son's birth, best day ever. Here we go. Lorraine Forbes, my dear friend Lorraine Forbes, the amazing another Brit in Rothesay, who chose to come skating across Lake Louise in front of Chateau Lake Louise during a during a full moon. Then borrowing horses from the stables, riding up to Lake Louise ski area. View was epic. Returning back, driving to Emerald Lake Lodge, sneaking into the hot tub, watching the sunrise, coming home again. One night, epic, never to be matched again. Didn't even involve sex, and he was a cowboy. Unheard of. Epic. That's amazing. When you can have an amazing night that doesn't involve sex. What do you think? Do the best nights involve booze or no booze? I guess it varies, um, because obviously, I mean, if one is necessarily sober, then then it needs to be without booze. But yeah, it's a myth that booze makes things better, but it is true that some nights can be epic with. But anyway, Sandy Christensen, ringing that bell. Um, Katrina Thibault Jardin carried the Olympic torch. That has got to be up there. That is phenomenal. And I'm as I say all of these things, I want us all to channel it. I want us all to feel that this is what our day to day is going to be like. We're going out into the world. There's going to be people trying to bring us down. There's negative people everywhere. There's negative people online. As I've said many, many times before, if you are feeling down, get out of bed, go for a walk, get some fresh air, look at the water, look at the river. But crucially, most importantly, get the hell off social media. The apps, they save your passwords. Just delete the apps and give yourselves a couple of days off. You don't need to fill your mind with that poison. It's and yeah, I'm wanting to channel these joys. Tim McCluskey, births of my two children. Wonderful. My dear friend Janelle Simpson, lovely to see you yesterday, Janelle, at the post office. That's the Rothesay post office. It's where we all meet and hang. Completing Ironman 10 months after having a baby. I mean, that is phenomenal. Proof that anything is possible. I mean, that is just like, again, and we could all aspire to doing things like this. Like, that is literally the work of a superhero. Nice one, Janelle. Brad Hatfield, graduation day 1978, then marriage day, and then childbirth day, then empty nest day. Fair point. The empty nest day. What is that going to be like? Given I moved here to be around my kids and have that be around them, I can't imagine what it's going to be like because we have been so involved. Like, if we'd have stayed in London, we wouldn't have been involved. I mean, I can think it's going to be heartbreaking. 1 sec, I'm just going to quickly drink some more coffee. The wonderful Tim Andrews, my friend from Oxford, England, who lives in Nova Scotia. He says, honestly, mate, there is no one answer. I cried my eyes out when Oxford won at Wembley back in 2010. That must have been majestic. Big picture, though, it means nothing. Well, it does mean something to me. I know what you mean, it means nothing. But it also does mean something, because every moment of joy that we give ourselves, whether it's eating a treat, drinking a lovely glass of wine, sharing a laugh with our partner, kayaking across a river, laughing. I mean, that's to me the best feeling in the world is when you are just having uncontrollable hysterics with laughing, uncontrollable hysterics laughing with the people that you love most in the world, when you just can't breathe. There is no greater high in the world than that. And I guess that's why, and that's where stand-up's such an interesting job, because there's not that there isn't laughs involved in it, but it's funny how you almost you're removing the fun of it because you are analyzing it, but you want to be up there. You like, I'm up there. I obviously get immense amount of joy from soaking up the laughs that I'm hearing, but I guess there is still nothing that compares to actually being the one laughing. My dear friend Bev and Dan, who I believe, do we just celebrate Dan's 50th birthday? If so, happy birthday, Dan. Bev delightfully says, marrying my best friend. Sounds cliche, although I knew it then and still do today. If you have seen Bev and Dan Sumerda, why can't I still not pronounce your name? I'm bloody Polish too. I can pronounce my grandfather's surname, Plaszyska. Sumerda. Bev, correct me how to pronounce your surname. You've told me 1,000 times and I always get it wrong. Although it's not quite as embarrassing as the time that I got your son's age wrong on stage at Yip Cider, saying he was 18 when he was actually 19. He was there celebrating his 19th birthday. It was supposed to be his first night out drinking, and I ruined it by saying he was 18. Then he got cut off at the bar. Sorry, I owe you a party. Toon Dujo, career-wise, getting hired as an animator for Disney. That is pretty incredible. Congratulations. Joanne Haynes, when I gave birth to my 4 beautiful children. Oh, This is very nice. Higgins Insurance. You all know lovely Bob at Higgins Insurance, don't you? Bob is the absolute world-class gentleman who drives around the amazing Christmas car at Christmas time. Again, a man who drives the streets trying to bring joy to people. They're having a bad day. They're walking along. It's cold. It's wet. It's raining. It's snowing. They're going to work. They're going back from work. They've had some bad news. And they see Bob driving that beautiful car that looks like it should be literally, I'm sure it has been in a Hallmark movie. And he brings joy. And he's written, James, when you dropped in to visit our team at our office, it was so great to meet you. You're an inspiration to our team. What a lovely thing to say. And I'm sure that wasn't the happiest day of your life, Bob. If the happiest day of someone's life was me turning up at their office, I would just spend all day, every day turning up at offices. But that could also, judging by certain comments I read on social media, that would also ruin a lot of people's days. Toby Doucette Corey, the day that I jumped off the corporate treadmill and became a college instructor. God bless you, Tori. That is beautiful. Having just been ensconced with college instructors for the past 2 weeks, and more importantly, the future of New Brunswick, i.e. the students that they are extolling their knowledge upon, there is no greater profession. No, what's the word I'm looking for? No greater. Sometimes when I'm doing these, because I'm doing them live, obviously, I can't think of a word. It's really annoying. No greater. What's the word? Okay, so you're trying. No greater mission, not mission in life, not field, not. It's the word when it's like it's my in life. There is no greater. Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm in awe of you, Toby, and impressed. And there is no vocation. Is it vocation? No, no, it's not. That's not it. There's no greater vocation in life than, well, a mission, whatever you want to call it. Joanne writes, the day in 2008 that I stood inside King Tut's tomb in the Valley of the Kings, Egypt, and placed my hands on the top of the glass case containing his mummy. I mean, all these opportunities, all these things, we can all do. If we're not feeling the joy today, let's Heather Patterson, again, one of the kindest, nicest, most beautiful people, one of the first friends I made when I moved here. It's a toss-up between marrying my best friend and retiring. I mean, again, I can believe it. Heather Patterson, and if you've ever seen her and husband together, you will see that they are just the happiest, most. I love seeing that because that's my wife's my best friend too, and I just seeing people that go out and just have fun and joy with their partner all the time. And Heather lives life to the absolute fullest. I see her at so many shows. I mean, it's basically like last year, I believe, Heather, you guys very kindly came to see me at the Ladysmith Manor show that my dad was at, and I was so happy that you got to meet my dad on his first visit to New Brunswick in 10 years. You also, as you always do, came to the Romero House fundraiser show that Judy Tower organises. By the way, Punchlines Comedy Club, as many of you know, sadly closed, but Judy Tower is continuing to do shows at Lily Lake Pavilion under the Punchlines banner, including the amazing Kelly Lamrock is headlining there next month, with support from the legend that is Brad Rice. So please do. Anyway, Heather, so book tickets. Yeah, that's beautiful, Heather. Michael Rackley, wedding day for sure. Never thought I'd be so lucky. I won life's lottery. What a wonderful way of looking at the world. And there's nothing more beautiful than love. Jolene Esty, the day my son was born. Fruit de Pool, the day we finally got our permanent residency status in Canada. See what you do for us, Canada. It's a beautiful thing that you do for us all. When Jackie Stroud, when I found out my son got into med school. I hope you're feeling the love from all this, everyone. I know this is essentially just me reading a list, and you could read. I could just post this list, and you could read it. But whether you're driving to work or you're walking the dog, or you're Kylie, you're walking across Blackheath to head to the pub to meet Richard. Oh, the Blackheath pubs! If anyone here is listening is going to London, go to the pubs in Blackheath, and you will bump into world-class opera singer, former Grand Bay Westfield resident Kyla Lingley there, guaranteed. And again, One more time, if anyone wants to see Kyla and Pam and the rest of the class of 92 live on stage in Greece at St. John High, shoot me a message. But incidentally, I should point out, we were back to normal questions next week. Email me, jamesmullinger@gmail.com. Very hard email to remember. Jackie Stroud, when my son got into med school. Again, another of the most honourable vocations, healthcare workers. I come from a family of nurses and physiotherapists. You all know I do a lot of work with and for Horizon, and as you know, the reason that all of the money from the Rothesay Yule, and every single cent of the money that is raised at the Rothesay Yule goes to the St. John Regional Hospital Foundation to help nurses. Healthcare workers, biggest heroes in our universe, and often some of the treated the poorest by the public, and indeed by the government, and indeed by the salaries are not what they should be. So anyway, Jackie Stroud, well done to your son. Jason Meadow, when the interprovincial trade barriers were abolished earlier this year, absolutely. Again, I mean, we're living in a terrible time, but thank you, Donald Trump, for making that happen. Canadians finally working together to support other Canadians. And with that in mind, I probably should point out our amazing sponsor this week, Ganong. And as you know, I mean, I've written about Ganong in the Mountain Minute before. I've always been a fan. Oh, sorry, my point was I got distracted earlier. My brother is begging me to bring him Palamines. Yes, Nick, when I come to BC next week, I'm bringing a massive bag of Palamines. I'm also bringing you a massive bag of caramel clusters. And incidentally, I don't have... Oh, that was the other thing that I forgot to mention that I've done in the last... was in the last 2 weeks, was filming. This is how much stuff. I mean, this was supposed to be a quiet time. I also was filming the ads for the Hospital Home Lottery campaign and overseeing the editing of those, which, again, a lot of work. But a lot of fun, and I believe it was a record-breaking year. Who else watched? Oh my goodness, I watched the worst thing and the best thing, and I was going to be Mr. Scorsese, the documentary about Martin Scorsese on Apple Plus. Whoa, I'll go into more on that later. Plus, All's Fair with Kim Kardashian on Disney Plus. If I don't get round to those two quite different things this week, I will get to them next week. So yes, Nick, I'll bring you some Palamines first. So I'm quickly do an ad read, and then just so you all know, I haven't got even past the first page of the list of I will still finish this on time, but it might just mean there's more stuff. Maybe I'll do 2 episodes. Would you like a second episode this week? This week's show is supported by Ganong, a company I genuinely love and one that has been crafting chocolate here in New Brunswick since 1873. They have just launched 2 major brand new products, sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters. And because I take my job very seriously, I went full investigative. I can't say that word. Investigative. I've never been able to say it. I don't know why I wrote this. I don't know why I wrote a word that I can't even say. I've needed to say it millions of times throughout my life and career, and I still can't say it. But I'm going to try one more time and see if it rolls off the tongue. That's what she said. Oh, missus. And because I take my job very seriously, I went full investigative reporter. I brought these chocolates onto the streets of St. John and handed them out to strangers. That is true. I did do that at the hockey rinks in and around. Actually, it wasn't just in St. John. It was Charlotte, County, and the KV. The reactions were priceless. One man even professed to want to propose to the bag of chocolates. Another told me he would fight me for the last piece, but it was my father-in-law, and I knew not to argue with him because he is a real man, and I'm not. But anyway, that is the power of Ganong. So, Canadians are proud of Canadian companies, especially ones that have been doing it for more than 150 years. So whether you are hosting a holiday party looking for a simple gift or settling in for a quiet night at home, grab these new bags now. Support local, support New Brunswick, support Canada, and treat yourself to something truly delicious from Ganong. There will be a link to order directly from the source in the description beneath this show. So back to the list of joy. It is we are nearing. It's almost 6:45. Oh, another joy-filled experience I've had in the past week was on Friday. It was my beloved mother-in-law Wilhelmina's birthday. It also happened to be grandparents' day at the kids' school, so luckily she got a double, triple, quadruple celebration. And also my amazing sister-in-law Judy then hosted like a family dinner on the Friday night. It was one of those just magical. She's in a beautiful new home. Her wonderful sons, me and Pam's amazing nephews, and of course our son's cousins, Joshua and Jordan, were both in town. So it's probably the one time they're both doing incredible jobs. Jordan lives in Quebec and Josh lives in Dartmouth. They are both just truly, truly brilliant young men. Of course, again, I actually met Pam a week after Jordan was born. Like when we met in London, she had just in the year 2000, she had just got back from surprising Judy in the delivery room. So again, those were two of the happiest days of my life. Was the birth of my nephews. And what's my point? My point is it was just so nice having all of us together. It just felt like one of those perfect family. We all then went off to watch Hunter play hockey that night. That really, the days don't get much better than that when you got family all together. You go and watch hockey. And of course, saints that they are, my nephews and sister-in-law were around all weekend helping with the Rothesay Yule. It truly is a family affair. Like my father-in-law Barry was so much like it takes so many people, and of course there's so many amazing volunteers helping my wife. But ultimately, it really is a family affair. Anyone that was there will have seen my sons working. Anyway, just joyful to have family here. It's probably the last time because they're so busy with their work. Unlikely we're going to be back together again. So, God bless you, Josh and Jordan. Thanks for being here. And also, thanks for listening. I know you listen. Okay, back to the list. Gary Short, wedding day, and when my boys graduated, very proud, beautiful. Greg Dunlap, the day I met James Mullinger, obviously taking the piss, but thank you, Greg. I love you too. And I have to say, the show I did for you last year at the Delta in Fredericton was one of my happiest days of last year. So thank you and your team and colleagues and fellow delegates for creating. They are Stanley Mutual Insurance, and thank you to them for bringing me joy. And for being one of the things that when I'm having a dark moment, I have a list actually on my desktop called, it's genuine, I'm looking at it now. It's a Word document and it says things to look at when sad. And it's basically a list of if you get a nice email or a nice message or have a good day or a good gig or feel good about something, you look at it and it makes you feel better. Laura Gerard Ogal. It's really hard to pick just one. Seeing Coldplay in Singapore in January 2024 was exciting. Concerts can often be the thing. I mean, certainly seeing Coldplay with my wife this year was amazing. Seeing Oasis at Nebworth in 1996 with my best friend Nick Butterworth was unquestionably one of the greatest experiences of my entire life. Any of you that's seen the Nebworth documentary, well, of course, you will know this, but this is obviously pre-mobile phones. So we have no. It was just 150,000 people in a field, just focused on the music. The Prodigy, Ocean Colour Scene, and then Oasis. Nick and I actually had backstage passes. This entire story is indeed detailed in my in the second book, which again I've finished, but obviously subject to the contract was just signed yesterday, so it could be that the whole thing needs to be rewritten if everybody hates it. You can imagine I've been losing sleep over that because I'm paranoid and insecure. Anyway, Nebworth, Oasis is supposed to be playing Nebworth again next year, and it's just really weird to think of like going in '96 and then going 30 years later. My friend Nick Butterworth's wife is actually one of my favorite ever musicians, B.T. Wolf. I'm actually looking at her vinyl album cover right now of her album 8, which I have picked out to talk about on the We Buy Records podcast actually later. But I sincerely hope me and Nick get to go back together 30 years later. We will not be taking the same thing as we were taking back then, which brought joy at the time, but are very bad for you and can have dangerous consequences. That is my health. Author Andrew Butters, tied for the top of the births of my 2 children. Kristin Madeline. Okay, everyone says normal things like weddings and children being born, and obviously those are special moments that will never be replaced. But for me, it was attending WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas for various reasons. The nostalgia of finally getting to attend the biggest wrestling event to exist, going on my first big trip, planning it all with limited funds. It was just an incredible experience that I will never forget. It helped heal my inner child. Kristen, that is absolutely incredible, beautifully written, and I have to say, of all the things that made me feel teary, um, births of children's and weddings, obviously, but there is something truly amazing about. I mean, one of them for me, actually, it was last May, 30th of May, 31st, going to see Roy Chubby Brown at the Blackpool Pier, because it was the first comedian I saw when I was 14, and going back on this pilgrimage, knowing that this was going to form the final chapter of my second book. As many of you know, writing the first book is probably is without question, other than obviously, again, children, it's the proudest thing I've ever produced. And I didn't really produce the children. I contributed an ingredient but then someone else did all the work. I guess it's a bit like having a child is a bit like having a ghost writer, isn't it? You know, when a celebrity, like, someone else writes the book for them, they give them the thing and they create the thing. That's what a bit like being a dad is. You give someone the thing and then they do the rest. Anyway, so going to Blackpool and being there with my friend Paul Field, who, as I mentioned, I'm speaking to later today, some other friends from school, and Paul Wilson, my one of my favorite people in the entire universe. The ultimate enjoy. You know, I mean, really, anyone that knows Paul Wilson will know, again, a phenomenal journalist, amazing editor, one of the true greats of all the people I've ever worked with in magazines. I fell in love with him the second I met him, and have had so many special, wonderful, amazing experiences. To get to experience that night and the fact that he's got 2 kids, busy job, busy life, busy work. Actually works often at my favourite newspaper in the UK, The Guardian. Took the time to leave London, come all the way to Blackpool, have that experience with me, something I will never forget. Anyway, what's my point? He's one of those just absolute joy-giving people who everybody knows. You having a bad day, you speak to Paul Wilson. Okay, Trudy Graham. I have top. So yeah, I guess my point is going to shows and things can create those things. My wife and I actually just booked tickets, surprisingly reasonably priced, to see Lewis Capaldi at the Scotiabank Centre in Toronto next year. I'm looking forward to that. That will be no doubt a wonderful. Bublé, sing Michael Bublé in Montreal a few years ago. That was, I mean, I love Bublé. I know some of you are thinking that's not cool. I'm not cool. I don't care. I cried through pretty much the whole thing. My wife was absolutely mortified. I shouldn't have been drinking pints of wine, though. Trudy Graham. I have a top 3. The birth of my son, the day we arrived to live in Canada, and the day when we first arrived in London on my first trip back to the UK after 12 years of being away. Wow. I would love to hear more about that, Trudy. That must have been so emotional. It's such an emotional roller coaster going back to England. I often go back to my old haunts. But this last trip, I was determined, as I say, to go to Blackpool, a place that I'd always wanted to go. And that was, again, I don't want to bang on too much about that, but I would love to hear about what took you so long to go back to the UK after 12 years. And I'd love to hear more. Ivy Otis, the day I received life's greatest gifts, my daughter, son, and grandson. Nothing would ever compare. Angela Pond, the day my daughter was born. Joe Finney, 3, the days I gave birth to my 3 children. Amanda Burgess, my wedding day was pretty special. I had months of even more poor health than usual and was so worried that the impending wedding that I wasn't going to be able to hold up for the entire day without being exhausted sick. But in the month and a half leading up to the wedding, changes were made to my treatment plan that had me feeling better just in time, and I had the most amazing day with my now husband and our immediate family at Yip Cider, followed by celebrations with our trailer family at Crystal Beach. Best day ever. Amanda, that is absolutely beautiful. Everything about that is emotionally uplifting and beautiful. And to be frank, any day that ends at Crystal Beach, that is a win. Truly one of my favorite places in the entire world. Again, don't think I've ever not felt pure abject joy jumping off that wharf. And just when you're at Crystal Beach, you're just surrounded with people laughing and joyful sounds. It's so beautiful, Amanda. I would love to hear more. My dear friend Christina Simpson, Willow finished the hard toss-up between petting a penguin at Busch Gardens, February 2020, and seeing my favourite Brit band, S Club 7, live in Toronto in February 2024. Christina, tell me more. S Club, well, I guess it wasn't S Club 7, because, one of them tragically part. S Club 6? Or did 2 die? S Club 5? Who did I meet from S Club 7 back in the day? I have to dig that out. Or am I thinking of Atomic Kitten? That's so cool. Tell me more. I had no idea that S Club 7, S Club, however many are still alive. I didn't know they were still touring, least of all in Canada. That's amazing. Carol Armstrong, when Penity Glan, Alice Cooper's drummer, and his girlfriend babysat me and made me dinner. That is awesome, Carol. How did Penity Glan, Alice Cooper's drummer, and his girlfriend end up babysitting you? I met Alice Cooper at the GQ Men of the Year Awards a few years ago. Lovely man. Helene Boudreau, my wedding day that started my life of adventures, life lessons, and so much more. Beautiful. Shelley Grondrine. Without a doubt, the day my son was born. Lorne Hammond, same. The day my son was born. Roxanne Cormier, when I got married. Matthew Dixon, arriving on my bicycle at Signal Hill in St John's, Newfoundland and Labrador after bicycling across Canada and becoming the first person with schizophrenia to do so after a long 30-year recovery from the disease. I had bicycled across Canada when I was 20 and then got schizophrenia at 22. The disease shattered my dreams and goals, and I had no idea what the future held in store for me. To be able to recover from the disease was huge, and to be able to bicycle across Canada again was just incredible, all caps. Thanks to the so many people in my community of Charlotte County, New Brunswick, who donated to help to get me across. It would never have happened without you. I'm forever indebted. Matthew, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I will post Matthew's social media handles if anyone would like to follow his further adventures. A truly amazing man, and that is beautiful. And again, it is testament to the amazing people of Charlotte County, who I've said it many times. It's like people talk about salt of the earth, and it's a phrase overused, but the sense of community in places like Kings County, Charlotte County is off the charts. Mike Simmons, the day I got my Class 1 driver's license and got paid to see North America. I left that same day and went to Mississippi and Louisiana, and it was the first time I'd ever been south of Bangor. Amazing. Diane Lynn, the days my children were born. Tracy Hanlon, the day I moved to New Brunswick to be with the love of my life and start a new life for myself. Tracy is one of the incredible, inspiring people who I was lucky enough to spend last week with as part of the NBCC, and Tracy was just off the charts inspiring. She read her letter to her instructor, Karen, and there was not a dry eye in the house. And again, if you would like to hear more of that, Tracy, you're a hero, my friend, and thank you for sharing. And I can't wait to see the amazing things you do for and in this province. Kat Wells, this one tops the charts. I won High Point Champion and a trophy. She is an equestrian, a horse rider, for those of you that don't know English. This one tops the charts. I won High Point Championship and a trophy. It was my first ever. I was so shocked. I was sitting in my truck waiting for my next class when I started getting texts asking where I was because I was being called to the ring. I never expected that. That is beautiful, Kat. There is something about winning something when you genuinely don't expect. The first chapter of my second book is about a night that I overcommitted myself in typical ADHD fashion, and it happened to be the night of the New Brunswick Book Awards 2022 or 3. And long story short, I overcommitted myself to different childcare, let's just say, dropping other people's kids home. Anyway, I went to the awards but had to leave in order to take someone's child back because they wanted him back by a certain time. And I genuinely knew, it wasn't that I thought, I knew I wasn't going to win, so it wouldn't be missed. And then I get a text from the award-winning, amazing author Gerard Collins saying, "Where the hell are you? You've just won." And I don't think I'll ever win anything again, certainly not for writing. And to have missed the one and only chance I would ever have to stand on a stage holding an award, is heartbreaking. But of course, you don't do the things for that reason. You do it for. It's interesting. I am not happy with anything I produce for the most part. Like I can always find a fault in every issue of the magazine. Never ultimately happy with my stand-up specials. I never kind of like. I don't mean the craftsmanship that goes into the video crew. I don't mean that. They're all absolutely amazing and nail it every time. My jokes, my performance, I'm never happy with it. And again, judging by some of the comments I see on social, so lots of other people are not happy with it. But one of the few things that I've ever produced that I am genuinely proud of my book, like I feel it accurately reflects me. I think the second one is going to be even better, I hope, and I'm just so happy to be doing it with Goose Lane again because it was their guidance that made it, and the amazing editor James Langer that made it what it was. Anyway, so Cat Wells, that's beautiful, and thank you for posting the picture. If you want to see this, it is on my Facebook page, Cat Wells with her award. Congratulations, that's amazing. Jessica Campbell Pickles, I have 3. The day I met my birth father, the day I had my son, and the most recent, I just married my partner of 26 years on the 8th of this month. Life is short. Enjoy every minute. Jessica, God bless you. That is so beautiful. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful wedding day. Charlotte Flewelling, it does say top fan on here, Charlotte. God bless you, my friend. Thank you for listening. Charlotte is one of our longest, most loyalist listeners. And Charlotte, so much love and thanks and admiration for you. I have sorry, my stomach rumbling, everyone. It's getting close to 7 a.m. I'm on a health kick because obviously after that busy couple of weeks, then after the Yule, I had to have a couple of glasses of wine, then ended up eating my body weight in cheese and yes, Ganong chocolates. So now having to do a bit of the old balancing it out, a bit of the old fasting in it. Anyway, I have 3. My birthday, because we are never promised it each year. You never know. That's so true. Every year on my birthday, I always, when I go into the YMCA and I type into the ski machine my age, weight, and all that bollocks, so it can do whatever it does. It always feels like quite a monumental thing to go the next, like it's 47 and 48. Although I think I mentioned before that this is my bonus year. Lovely Julie, who Julie Wood from Cineplex. I can't wait, by the way, Julie, for the Andre Rieu concert. I was on this podcast banging on about being 47, and she was like, "You're not 47, we're the same age, you're 46. So this is a bonus year for me." Anyway, Charlotte Flewelling, my half marathon in Moncton 2017, I stubbornly overcame a fall, think Superman flight without going far, and made it just to the finish. The first time I heard a whale breath and felt a whale spray, it was the very first minutes of my 41st birthday on Campobello Island 2023. I was night beachcombing on the beach near our cottage. I felt and heard it and immediately felt like I'd lost all colour in my face. I was shocked and tired all in that moment. That is incredible, Charlotte. You are truly one of life's gifts, and I love the fact that you embrace life's gifts. I've had that experience too before. Actually, if anyone's watched the Ugwug TV series or movie directed by Brian Finlay. And by the way, thank you to my dear friend Stephanie Downey's beautiful son, Wolfie, who on Sunday at the Rothesay Yule, it made me feel like made me feel special because he has watched Ugwug multiple times, and I'm Mr. Green in the show, and I never get really, and it was just lovely to see a child think that he was asking how I did that special effect. And I remember videoing it at the time thinking, this is amazing how Brian has done the special effect, but no one cares. But Wolfie cares. I will remember to send you that footage of how that was done. Thank you, Charlotte. Laura Elizabeth. Okay, that's beautiful. Laura Elizabeth, the happiest day was the day I failed at ending my life. Thank the universe that you failed. Barbara Hickey has indeed commented, and I, for one, am very happy you didn't succeed. You are strong, capable. I'm so glad you're still here to tell the tale. Thank you, Laura, for sharing that with us. That indeed is, I think, for many of us, probably the most important and happiest day of our life, when we can find that glimmer of positivity or joy or hope or something magical that makes us happy, that pulls us away from that terrible brink. God love you, Laura, and I'm here anytime you want to. If ever you want cheering up. I will do everything I can indeed to help, and I hope everything is wonderful for you now. Thank you for sharing that. I think you have just done an amazing service for a lot of people. TJ Hansen, the day my daughter was born. Cindy Ward and Conrad, the day I gave birth to my daughter. Mike Patterson, the amazing Mike Patterson, one of Canada's greatest ever comedians, when I sang the national anthem at the Bell Centre for Mike Ward's Suaku taping. That is awesome. Mike Ward, many of you know, is one of French Canada's biggest comedians. I mean, he sells out massive arenas. I was lucky enough to open for him at the Capitol Theatre. A savage comedian who is interestingly also one of the nicest, kindest, sweetest people ever. Some of you may remember the terrible trial case of his law case where the Human Rights Commission tried to prosecute him or convict him for a joke. And it was an absurd irony, given, like I say, sweetest, nicest man. And that must have been amazing, Mike. God love you, my friend. And finally, Alicia Cook Bradley, when I gave birth to my son. Thank you all so much for sharing all of those beautiful, joy-filled memories with us. I will just say, before we go, on the subject of joy, just please remember, I love you. Everyone around you loves you. This is the season of joy. Let's keep sharing joy. I will quickly do my outro tags, which again, Ganong, a company that brings joy not just through the medium of chocolate, but also through community outreach, support to their team members. I know that they're one of the most vital employers in this province and indeed country. Ganong, Canadian owned and crafted since 1873. Ganong, buying Canadian, never tasted so good. And let's face it, Christmas is coming and it is the season for cozy nights, family gatherings and eating a bit too much chocolate. Treat yourselves because you can always fast afterwards. Ganong just launched their new sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters, and they are perfect for gifting, hosting, stocking stuffers or sneaking behind the tree when no one's looking. Crafted in Canada since 1873, make Ganong part of your holiday season. I did not get to anything on my list. I will cover everything next week, I guess. All of the things that the Mr. Scorsese. I saw the new Superman movie. I watched 2 Leanne Morgan stand-up specials. Jerry D's new stand-up special just ended last night. I watched Love Actually again. I watched Merry Little Xmas with Alicia Silverstone, which was a lot of fun. I have finished multiple books. So I managed to reading books. By the way, I am determined. I had never driven through. I didn't realize how big Miramichi was. I thought when I first went to Miramichi, I thought it was just like Newcastle, and then I discovered Chatham, and then or vice versa. And then I discovered driving from Miramichi show last week to the Frederickson show. I drove through Blackville, Doketown, Boys Town, like basically up in Miramichi. And oh my goodness, I've got to do a show this. If anyone has a lead on a Legion and someone on the ground that could be responsible for tech and so forth, please let me know. So, tons of stuff's coming up that's going to be talked about next week. Jake Paul is fighting Anthony Joshua, if you can believe it. There is stuff. I mean, my Mr. Scorsese thing, I've got a ton to discuss. The movie, The House of Dynamite, did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Let me know. We'll talk about it. Prince Andrew finally got his comeuppance, so to speak. I say comeuppance. Basically, they're admitting he did it, but he's not going to pay the consequences. What do we think about that? No, sorry, I retract that. That's not... Talking like that is not joyful. It's been on my mind a lot. A quick recommendation: Down Cemetery Road on Netflix, on Apple Plus. Sorry, I know it's American, but a British show with Ruth Wilson and Emma Thompson. Very, very good indeed, and a female-led drama. So God bless it. Thank you all for listening. I've been James Mullinger. Yeah. Let's go. Let's get on with our days, and let's go try and bring joy to people, and see someone today who might be having a bad day. Give them a hug in a non-problematic way, obviously, with their full consent. Say, do you want a hug? Love you all. Thanks for listening. See you soon. God bless you.
Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.